premiere. Creative world premiere. World premiere.
So lately, I think PlayStation, right, has been making a fair number of marketing blunders, and who am I to criticize them? I feel like that's dropping a penny in the ocean when I do that, but I feel like a lot of it can be avoided. And after all this talk of not taking risks, many people, the staunch PlayStation defenders, will go out after people like me, who I think are rightly worried, and say, hey, they got stuff like Dreams, and listen, I love Dreams. Dreams is so cool. Media Molecule is one of the coolest developers out there right now. They're making such great ideas. Ever since Little Big Planet, they've really had... Well, you know what time of year it is, folks. The temperature's turning up, the sun's coming out, the clothes are coming off. Blockbuster films are hitting the theaters, and the air smells like renewed hope, relaxation, suntan lotion. So of course, it's time to stay inside and watch 18 hours of marketing materials from people that want to sell me something. But in all seriousness, I love E3. Growing up loving games and making it my personality when I was younger, I inevitably discovered the term Electronic Entertainment Expo, a magical place where people who make my favorite games would convene and show off what they had in store for me to eventually buy secondhand at a GameStop after selling them my soul. Also my GameCube, and that's the one I regret. E3 always seemed like an end game for me. If you're watching this, then it's no surprise I want in on the games industry in a capacity that doesn't involve math, and the GameStop manager that used to give me recommendations for games always had cool things to say about the event. I think the credit for getting me in the know about E3 goes to Game Informer. And man, if my mom never signed us up for a pro membership that came with a subscription, I probably wouldn't be here today. In fact, I'd actually probably be in an office somewhere making a good living off of the STEM path I abandoned. Game Informer really made E3 seem like the coolest thing in the world. Their E3 recap issue is what I lived for before I could find ways to watch the show every year. There was just so much pageantry involved that came across in their pages. They even made it a competition, seeing Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation get a letter grade and one being crowned winner every year. That didn't affect me, I have no platform biases. But now, having watched every E3 conference from all the major players annually since at least 2011, I've seen it through the ups and downs, from celebrity guest hosts to Peggle 2 to Kojima's return and Final Fantasy VII Remake's reveal. With E3 changing now more than ever and its lifespan in question, and just beginning the new generation, I think we have to have a serious talk that comes up once every 10 years. It's time for some hard marketing truths, the secrets of E3. You gotta wake up, sheeple. Open your eyes. Close your eyes. Clear your mind. Think back to your favorite E3 reveal. The coolest trailers, the most hype announcements, things that you've always wanted to see come to life. I don't have to list mine, but I'm sure we have some crossover. Now, I want you to think of the year it was announced, and the year it released. There's a reason for this likely large gap. You're being played. And listen, I know I'm being manipulated too. I couldn't sleep when Kingdom Hearts 3 was finally announced. I was glued to my screen when I saw Ubisoft reveal Beyond Good and Evil 2 despite not having any interest in the series. Scalebound looked amazing and fulfilled a childhood fantasy of just hanging out with a dragon and listening to some cool music. And when Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced, I just could not believe it, because as long as I had heard about E3, I had heard about how desperate people were for that game. But all of those games took a long ass time to come out, or got delayed to hell, or cancelled if we're being real with ourselves. And sure, 2 of them are Square Enix games, but look at someone like Nintendo, they're guilty of this too. Remember how long it took them to put out Breath of the Wild after they revealed that thing? I remember when Breath of the Wild was called Zelda 2014. Or 2015, doesn't matter. Breath of the Wild 2 is probably going to take about the same amount of time. And do not get me started on JPEG 47, okay? That one, we all know that one. I know some people will rightfully brush off these reveals or trailers as nothing because that's what they are, but when Todd Howard walked on stage to announce Elder Scrolls 6, yeah, everything that exists for that game could have been lost by a gentle breeze going past an office desk. But it doesn't matter, it still has 13 million views on YouTube. They aren't selling you on a game, they're selling you on that feeling of hype around a game. They're selling you on your dreams. They want that sweet, sweet real estate in your thoughts and your tweets. Take Final Fantasy VII Remake. That was a trailer for a 15+ year long requested game that had some ridiculously strong talent behind it. And some of the leading talent didn't even know they were in charge of the project until the trailer dropped and they saw it with the rest of the world. So why tease something that could so easily get cancelled or at least be years and years away? It's for the hype, it's for the discourse, the headlines. Nobody cares that they won't be playing Death Stranding, Spider-Man, or the best God of War ever a year after they were revealed in 2016. Those games didn't release until years later, but it didn't matter. They were making your dreams a reality and promising them to you down the line if you bought in then and there. There truly is something so powerful to dream games. Fans even take it upon themselves to create their own attempts at dream games. From remakes to full-blown ground-up titles, there's a fervor around impossible games that don't exist. Hell, we can circle it back. Just look at Media Molecule's Dreams and you'll find countless remake, reimagining, just every single variety of fan game. A publisher making a promise for those games is just a net positive for everyone involved. Unless, of course, you're 3 years into developing a fan-made version of a dream game and then you get hit with a cease and desist. Guess I should scrap the DK64 sequel Kickstarter that I've been planning for 15 years. Maybe a hot take, but the promise of games coming years down the line are absolutely more important than anything you can announce for release within an upcoming year, especially early in the generation. It's what you promise that gets people excited about the idea of pledging allegiance to one side or another in this stupid console war. Sure, it's cool we're getting God of War Ragnarok next year, but if you want to wow us, if you want people to get excited for the PS5, you show up at an event with a trailer that just says Infamous Red Lightning, and then surprise, there's a shot of Superman in there. You get Twitter buzzing and people will be talking about that pitch of an idea for 7 years until it's ready. Cause really, it's Xbox's show to lose this year. All they have to do is walk out on stage, say the words Banjo-Kazooie, and point at an Xbox. Pair that with Elder Scrolls 6, and Sony, you're in trouble 6 years from now, so that means you're in trouble today. Get on it, what are you doing? I think it's important to say that this is coming out hours before E3 really kicks up, but hype can be incredibly destructive. It can also be weird. I've always been confused about the typical gamer bro hype surrounding games like The Last of Us Part 2. That just doesn't make sense. So while you're sitting there watching this, thinking about what's ahead of you for Bethesda's conference, for Xbox's, Nintendo's, Square Enix, Capcom, remember, everything's fleeting. Nothing is guaranteed. And it can't hurt to get hyped about these things and maybe then try to forget about them, like Kamiya said about Bayonetta 3, and then just, play something in your backlog. That's the healthy approach for everybody involved. Go into this E3, the start of a new generation, with this in mind. You're being sold something because they know you want to be sold on it. That being said, next week I will be losing my mind for XYZ, and this is being recorded ahead of E3, so I did actually write up a list of my dream games that, I'll throw all my advice out the window and just happily enjoy them. So let's start. Infamous 3, Red Dead Redemption Remake, Donkey Kong 64 2, Star Wars Bounty Hunter, Remade, Redone, Sly Cooper 5, Simpsons Hit and Run, PlayStation Pro Skaters, Resident Evil Remake. Funny, I'm fucking sweating my off.
You know what? I really don't know.